Hey guys, Vesti here, bringing you another P2 gameplay. So today, I got a relatively interesting replay to show you guys. I won't make comments about every single decisions that I make, but I will point out the most important ones because not every single interaction, especially in the beginning turns, they're not very important when you're more focused on the late game. So some of the beginning turns, they're just sort of building up towards that end game. So right now my opponent is sort of just running a pretty typical rabbit, worm, peacock, and I'm doing owl, robin, and hatching chick. Personally, I'm not really a robin fan, but since I'm running owl, I have a empty slot, so it sort of just makes sense for me to run it. And it's actually pretty decent, but it has like flaws, obviously. And when you play P2 and you're not running any toys, it becomes, it almost feels sort of like you're naked in a sense, because a very important part of playing P2 is using toys, and if you're not doing that, you're sort of putting yourself at a disadvantage almost. But this game, I just started running owl and hatching chick, so it didn't really leave that much room for a toy. And now it's turn 8. My team is starting to crumble, but I did manage to get my level 2 hatching chick, and that actually gets really important because yeah, it's just most of the time you just get hatching chick level 1 and then you sell it, so getting it level 2 is actually huge. And here I get my first toy of the game, which is puppy. And usually I like to run cash register with puppy, but I actually decided to go with toilet paper, which is, I don't know, I think it's all sort of dependent on how you want to play the game. But this time I think my opponent thought I was gonna run cash register, so it actually made a big difference, because if I ran cash register, I would have actually lost that last turn. And I actually decided to put a stake on my Ellie seal, and it actually plays a bigger role than it looks. And I'll explain it when it comes to that turn. But basically, putting any perks on Ellie seal has like a slow but steady sort of like an investment. So if you put like a pancake or a pie, it will actually give you more value in comparison to putting like a steak or a perk that doesn't really make that much of a difference. And this turn, I actually won from getting an octopus from Eagle, which was actually huge. And now this is the turn that the majority of the spotlight I would like to put this video on. So here you see I have a pretty typical P2 build. So I have a summon, usually that's an eagle at the back, and then you have an Ellie seal. And usually when you're sort of in this board state, you can either keep your eagle and just either feed your pets that's already on board, and usually that's using lasagna because P2 doesn't really have that much food that just buffs your pet apart from lasagna. And I actually put like lasagna on octopus a couple turns ago. So if you decide to put lasagna on one pet, it's usually a good idea to keep putting it on the same pet. And since my opponent is already on lethal, whatever decision I make this turn will sort of change the way this game ends. And another interesting point I want to point out is my opponent decided to put Tiger on Crocodile, but I think if he puts Tiger behind Snake, he will definitely get more value. But I think because I'm running skewers, he was scared that the Tiger will die before it can do anything. And that's just my guess, and I feel like, I don't know, it would kind of depend on how much damage the skewers are doing. So yeah, just keep an eye out that. And I also decided to so I look at the pets in shop, and I actually made a decision that pretty much changed the outcome of this game. So just take a look at this. So I lasagna the octopus, and then I sell my eagle, and I put an Ellie seal. So now I gamble if whether I'll get a snapping turtle or a chocolate, and that pretty much, it either pays off or I lose. There's no in between. So let's just see how it plays out. And there goes my chocolate. And I'll let this last term play out slowly. There's actually a lot of things that goes down, but I think the most important thing is you want to see how much damage the crocodile is taking, because if you look at the skewers doing the damage to this particular position, you'll see whether the tiger survives, and if tiger doesn't survive, this switch that my op could have done wouldn't have done anything. So just keep an eye on how much damage this crocodile takes after the skewer damage. Yep, so the skewers didn't really do that much damage, but it did get killed by the octopus. So yeah, I think it was a interesting game nonetheless. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.